Welcome back, everybody. It's your boy Sean, the American in Krakow, back in the studio to do part two of this Huntsman Razer Mini issue that I'm dealing with. So, in my previous video, I talked about the issue I had since getting a firmware update on this Huntsman Mini keyboard. And basically, after the firmware update, anytime I restart my computer, it can take up to 10 minutes before the computer becomes responsive after I enter my password. And that's solely down to the keyboard. If I do that without this keyboard connected, any other keyboard I own, it works fine. So I did the logical thing and contacted support. And I believe I have been pretty supportive and easy on the support team so far, because I have a history of working in support. So I get it. It's not the best job. It's not always the easiest job, but they are really starting to try my patience now. So I didn't really go in on the first support technician, but he got a lot of things wrong. I spent a lot of time on the phone holding and just dealing with them for him to get some really basic things wrong. I called him. I spoke to him. I told him what the problem was, what my troubleshooting steps have been so far. And in turn, he then asked me if I had another machine to try the keyboard on. I said, I do, but it's a Mac. So the machine I'm using it on is a Windows 10 desktop. It's my gaming PC. I do have another computer here at home. It's a MacBook. It's the MacBook I use for work. So I, one, didn't want to try and plug this keyboard in there just because I don't need to see what would happen on my work machine. And two, I don't know if it's a valid test because the OSs are different. How it deals with the OSs are different. And the support guy was like, yeah, that makes sense. That's fine. He logs his ticket, escalates to tier 2. Tier 2 gets back to me, and the first question they ask is, what firmware are you running? Because on the Mac OS, there were no firmware updates. I'm like, I'm not running this on a Mac. So I called again because their email also didn't make it clear how to reply to them. Like, should I go and log a ticket somewhere? Can I reply? It just wasn't clear. So I took the time and called the long distance number in the US. Again, I'm in Poland. And spoke to them and gave them all the details. And they explained to me that I can just reply to the email. So I replied to the email and gave them all my steps. And later that day, if not the next day, I got a response saying, thank you for clarifying. Can you please try this firmware? You know what? Let's take a look at this email chain. I can do that. Let's see. Yep, there it is. And email. And the reason this is annoying me now is because I just got another email back today. And we'll talk about that in a minute. So that was my response. This is the first email I got back from Razer after they escalated my ticket to tier 2. What Mac OS am I using? What device are you using to update the firmware? As firmware only runs on Windows. Blah. So like I said, nothing here made it clear how I should respond to this request. So I phoned them. After I phoned them and they explained to me that, hey, I can email, I wrote them an email. Let's see. Here we go. I called in. I'm using Windows 10. My other machine is a MacBook. I received the update to Synapse and the keyboard. If I boot up with another keyboard, everything is fine. I've removed software, Synapse software, same results. I've done a system restore, same issue. And here's where I ordered my keyboard from. I have reinstalled Synapse so I can at least use the color profiles when I get this thing to work. It's fine. So Chad responds back on the 7th. So I sent that on the 6th. He responds on the 7th. Can you try downloading this firmware link? And there's a link right here for me to download. And he gave me some instructions. That's on the 7th. Here, earlier this week, on January 7th, I downloaded that firmware updater, which is the tool that he gave me to download from that link. And basically all it did was run and tell me that I'm currently running the latest firmware on this keyboard, which was a bit frustrating because I expected, this to do something. I already explained to them that I assumed that this was a firmware issue and that, they even confirmed. Actually, it's in the email, right? Where is it? Thank you so much for your time and effort sending the clarification. It helps a lot. Upon looking at the details, this may lead to a firmware issue. We will try to update the firmware one more time. If the issues persist, we will move forward. We will move forward with our developers teams to further investigate. Blah blah blah. So I did it, and it didn't do anything. All it did was say, "Oh, you're already running the latest firmware." And you know what? That's fine. Maybe they just needed to confirm that I did actually get that firmware. And this is one way to do that. I wasn't even that, I was a little annoyed. Like, that was kind of pointless. But after I did it, I kind of understood. Like, this is their way to confirm for a fact that I had the absolute latest firmware. So I was cool with that. So I replied to them saying, hey, that was a bit pointless, but blah. They replied today. Said, thank you for your clarification. Right there. That's today's date. No, what was that? Oh, yeah, that was today's date. It's already 3:00 in the morning for me. But that's today saying, thank you so much for clarifying. Can you try download and install this software? ? And that makes it seem like it's something different, something that we haven't tried. And note, this is still Chad, Razer Level 2 technical support. Same guy, same Chad. Unless they have multiple Chads. Anyway, let's see what happens when I click on this link. Ooh, PDF. Firmware installation instructions. I actually got a little excited when I saw this. Like, oh, man. Applicable for, yep, that's me. Razer Huntsman Mini updater, blah, blah, blah. Who looks at revision numbers, blah, blah, blah. Download link. Fixed issue when device sometimes stops working after a restart or waking up from sleep. That's not exactly my issue. The keyboard works. My PC doesn't. But whatever. But that link looks really familiar. Like, really familiar. And even that Huntsman Mini version 0, like I stopped at that point and looked. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's the Razer short link. Then BZKQQ. Let's look at the previous email. What was that link? Where is it? Razer short link BZKQQ. That is the exact same link. Maybe they updated the firmware and they're just using the same link. This happens. Let's look at my downloads again. Huntsman Mini KB firmware update version 1.01.00 release 1. PDF. Razer Huntsman Mini updater V10100 release 1. It's the exact same software. So are they intentionally just wasting my time trying to make it seem like they're doing something? Like I don't get it. They just sent me the same software 2 different ways, asking me to try it again, as if this wasn't about to. You know what? Let's download it. Oh, look, it even appends it with a parentheses 1 because it already exists on my machine. Let's save it. Let's run that version, right? With the parentheses 1 in it. Yes, I would love to run this software. This will check the firmware and update my Mini if necessary. Oh, I will need to shut down all Razer applications. That's correct. He mentioned that to me before too. So exit all apps. Yep. Next. You already have the latest firmware and no update required. Oh, you know what? I was supposed to do it with the keyboard disconnected. I've just unplugged it. Let's run it again. Yes. I've exited all the applications. Please connect the device to your PC. I can do that. Let's do that. Connected. Let's see what it does. You already have the latest firmware and no update required. Exactly the exact same message I had 2 days ago when they asked me to try the exact same software. How is this support? I would literally write people up in my support center for doing things like this. This makes zero sense. Are your customers supposed to be dumb? Is that what you're saying, Razer? That your customers are idiots and they won't notice if you send them the exact same thing days apart, telling them to do the exact same steps, and they're going to feel like you're working on the issue? Is it that hard to say, hey, we're sorry, we don't know what's going on right now. We and our developers are investigating it, and when we have a solution or need additional assistance from you, we will contact you. But in the meantime, if you need an update, please feel free to contact us via phone or email at any time. That tells me, hey, you guys acknowledge there's a problem and you're working on it. And I will live with that because I want to like this keyboard. I really do. I want to like this keyboard, not because I spent the money on it. I already ordered an On 2. I literally ordered the On 2 the same day I recognized this was a firmware issue. I was like, it's a race. They either fix this and roll me back, or I'm just going to use the On 2. My On 2 is on its way. I got confirmation of shipment yesterday. So why would I waste my time on this? I want to like this keyboard. I physically like this keyboard. I love how it sounds. I love how it feels. When I'm actually typing on it and bottoming it, it feels good to me. That spacebar could be a little rattly. That's fine. I'm not a snob about that stuff. It still feels good to me, and I like it. I don't know if I'm going to like the On 2. That's an unknown. I want to like this keyboard, but your support is making me not. Like, I'd rather chuck this out of the window at this point because I feel like you're treating me like an idiot, Razer. And I'm not. I am sure I could walk circles around your tier 2 support. But I'm not going to call that out, right? And I don't need to test that because I've done more troubleshooting this myself than your support team has done helping me troubleshoot this. What do I got to say? Please fix my keyboard, Razer. Please fix my keyboard, Razer. That's all I want. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. I'm sorry this is a bit of a rant. I am a bit frustrated with Razer on this one. But, you know, at the end of the day, we buy we make purchases and we expect certain things in response with that purchase. Warranty, guarantees, support, things like that. And for what I paid, I expect support. And I am not getting it. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you're looking at it, this is my first and only Razer purchase. And it might be my last Razer purchase. Not because of the physical hardware, because of your support. So, I'm done. Sorry. I am really done this time. Thank you if you're still watching this video. Please like and subscribe and click the notify bell if you'd like to see more content like this, or eventually when I start editing my gaming sessions that I stream, I don't want to post the raw stream up here because it's long and boring and whatever. There will be other content up on the channel as well. However, for now, Huntsman and Razer has forced me to post some videos on this channel before I started doing any of the actual gaming stuff, but I will eventually get there. I appreciate you guys for watching. Go ahead and check out my Instagram. Link will be here as well. And peace out.